Thank you for calling Hail Mary Hotline. This is Bridget. Please hold while I transfer you.
Welcome back to Hail Mary Hotline. I'm your host, Taylor.
I'm your host, Sarah.
It's been a couple weeks, but we have a lot to talk about after this past weekend.
It is a great weekend to be a Georgia fan.
It is, isn't it? And you're about to find out why. So, this one made me so happy, but we're going to start right off with our Saturday snapshots. Georgia Tech lost. So much for being the only undefeated team in the state of Georgia. You're not anymore. And to an unranked team, I would like to point out.
Our loss is definitely more appreciated than Georgia Tech's now is, with us losing to the now number 4 Alabama and then losing to NC State, who goes on to play Miami in a couple of weeks. I want to note, but 48-36,
2 scores.
Yeah,
like that's pretty sad.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad and I wouldn't turn it on, because if we turned it on, Tech would have found a way to win, because that's just how it works. If you watch football, you understand. But I remember I was watching the World Series and I looked at my phone and it said final 48-36 NC State. That was like, Dad, look.
It just, oh my gosh. It was just a great lineup of football, which going into the weekend I didn't really appreciate, but now being on the other side of it all, it is great to be a Georgia Bulldog.
That it is, even though it wasn't for a few minutes there.
Nope.
But we'll get there.
Yeah, and Tech, don't worry, Higgins King is still your man. There's still plenty of season left, but got it rubbed in a little bit. Mm-hmm.
But
Carson Beck lost to SMU.
Isn't it beautiful? 2 more interceptions. 2. Yeah, they got beat 26-20 by SMU in overtime, who then proceeded to storm the field. Rightfully so.
Rightfully so. Yeah, not Miami. Carson Beck lost to SMU.
Again, at the press conference, he blames everybody but himself. He goes, I only execute the plays as they're called. They kept calling the same thing. They did not tell you to throw it to the SMU defenders.
That is not a good execution of what your coordinator called.
No,
that was
it's not.
Decent play design. I saw, the vision was there, just SMU saw it too. He caught it down at the 1 and then ran it in. That is, kudos to that defender. He crossed right in front of where Beck's target was.
Oh, so yeah.
It was tight. It was close. But if you're not going to execute the calls that you were given, A, don't say you are. And B, don't trash your coordinator for calling audible. If you really believe that strongly that it is not the call, then do an audible.
Here's my thing.
There's a time and place.
I saw an interview with Jackson Dart the other day, because he had a really bad game against somebody. I don't even remember who it was, but he threw, I think, 2 interceptions, and somebody asked him, said, what do you think about it? And he said, that's on me. I have to do better. And that's how you respond as a quarterback, because you are the leader of the team and you define so much of the culture of a team. And when you can step up there and say, yeah, that was my bad. I didn't execute. I need to do better. It lets your team know that you're willing to put yourself on the line and admit that you screwed up and that you're working to get better. And it makes them want to play that much harder for you. When I look at the culture that he creates, not just at Miami, but kind of what he created at Georgia as well, it's just, you can tell that nobody really wanted to play for him, because they know that's kind of how he sees everything. It's like, it's not my fault. It's always on somebody else.
And it might be something totally different in the locker room.
It might.
There might be a ton of other things going on. But also the way that he presents himself and who he's talking about in those press conferences and with his team just says a lot.
It does.
And it might not inherently just come out and he's like bashing anybody, but it's just kind of the tone of like, this wasn't on me kind of thing. But
this game kind of surprised me, but Vanderbilt at Texas won 34-31, and up until like the last 6 minutes of the fourth quarter, it really wasn't even that close.
They were down by 24 points until...
Was it 24?
30-something, maybe. They scored 21 unanswered in the fourth quarter.
That's right. And
they lost by 3.
3? So they were down 24.
24? Yeah.
That's the one.
Down 24 going into the fourth quarter. So it was, like, my family was ready to turn off the TV.
Yeah. It was one of those games.
Not a ton happening. Really had lost our faith in Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt had a rough game.
They did. They did try to come back. If they had gotten that onside kick, I think they had a really good shot of at least sending it to overtime. But I want to talk about the 2-point conversion.
Mm-hmm.
It was, to some extent, I can understand that, like, the very, like, nose of the ball, like, maybe got over the plane of the pylon, but
it didn't even cross the front of the pylon.
No, it didn't.
They did not deserve that. They did not deserve that at all.
No, that was a gift.
Sark has so much, like, in his right mind to be so mad about that call, because I think my whole family on the couch was sitting there, like, dying laughing, because Vanderbilt should not have, in any world of football, gotten that call.
Because you see all the other angles that aren't in slow-mo, and it looks like he's, like, this far from the pylon, and you're like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the Georgia call when they had to get the sticks to measure, and he was a full yard behind it. That's what that 2-point conversion looked like. And they missed the first 2 before that.
I know they did.
They were 0-2 on 2-point conversions. And
they don't know Skittles.
No, they don't know Skittles. But
it just makes you laugh. Because you go back and look at it, and you're like, there's no way.
Like, refs gave them 2 points that didn't matter. They still lost by 3 and dropped, like, 8 spots on
6.
Something like that. When it mattered. But still, I think we talked about it a little bit before the show, but I think Vanderbilt just hasn't had a bad game yet.
No, that was definitely as bad of a game as we've seen them play this season. Because even against Alabama, they didn't play that bad. Unfortunately, Alabama is just that good this year. But that was the first time that I looked at them and said, same old Vandy.
And I think that this was, I'll say, because they've been slowly improving, but the first game where I think we've seen the Texas that was supposed to be playing all season, I think we saw some major improvements from this Texas team.
Manning is starting to figure it out, which is concerning as a Georgia fan, but their offense really doesn't concern me as much as their defense, because unfortunately their defense is the real deal.
Their defensive line was very impressive.
Yes,
I will say I've seen some major improvements from their linemen.
Yes, and I don't think that our offense is up to the standard that they need to be to really compete with that kind of defense, but we'll see. We still have 2 more weeks until we get there, but I think we have our work cut out for us for sure. So, a much less good game. Kentucky at Auburn. Kentucky won 10-3. Auburn, what happened?
The nail in the coffin to Freeze's career. He was promptly fired from Auburn this week, and nobody can blame him.
You know what I saw? I forgot to send you this one, but I think it was... I've got to go back and double check this because I might be wrong, but I think Auburn has hired 3 straight coaches that coached at Arkansas State. Because I think Malzahn, Freeze, and there was one more that I cannot remember right now that all coached at Arkansas State.
Really?
I need to go back and find this and, like, double check, but it was something weird like that you look at it and go, huh.
Like how Billy Napier was the 3rd coach to get fired after beating Mississippi State.
That's a sad statement. But yeah, it's just weird. But I would also like to point out, Auburn only had 1 more yard of offense than Kentucky. Arnold had 15 throwing yards because he sat most of the game. Daniels only had 108. Auburn is sad. Their offense is sad.
They only got to the end zone once. I didn't think it was because of an interception. Like,
they didn't even score a touchdown. They kicked a field goal. What?
They couldn't even get back there.
At home.
At home.
Against a bad Kentucky team.
Like, consistently bad Kentucky team.
Yeah. This is their only SEC win this season. Like, what?
Since 2009. I want to point out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Their first conference win of the season and conference win since 2009. Bad.
It's really bad. But here's what kind of baffles me. Auburn is just weird. Because they're one of 3 programs in the nation to not allow more than 24 points per game. The other 2 are Ohio State and Indiana.
Doesn't that just piss you off a little bit?
It's like, you look at that and you're like, how does this happen?
How
How?
Do you only get 108 yards of offense? Can't even score against Kentucky.
No!
You have to force a field goal. But you are one of 3 teams in all of FBS to hold other offenses to 24 points. Like, who do you think you are?
They're as confused as their mascots.
Seriously.
Like, how does this happen? I can't. Their offense is so unbelievably bad, but evidently their defense is just...
so unbelievably not an Auburn defense.
Yeah.
If you had put, like, almost any other logo in the place of Auburn, I would have believed you so fast, but the fact that it's Auburn is just like, well, like, just what the heck?
Yeah. It's such a sad time to be an Auburn fan. I would say I pity you, but I really don't. Anyway, speaking of first SEC wins, Mississippi State won a game!
Yay!
They beat Arkansas 38-35.
Glad you won before we see you.
Amen to that.
Mm-hmm.
I had not much to say here. 2 bad teams.
Oklahoma and Tennessee. Oklahoma walked away 33-27.
At Neyland.
At Neyland.
What a win.
Nightmare Neyland. They blacked out.
I know they did. It, as much as it pains me to say it, it looked really cool.
Well, anything does when you're Halloween colors.
They're pretty fitting for this weekend.
Yeah.
Scariest part of Halloween is that stupid orange.
Mm-hmm.
But, again, this is another one that you look at the box score and you're like, there's no way Oklahoma should have won this game.
Oh, and they shouldn't have.
No.
But Tennessee, oh my gosh. Just really lost it there at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Oklahoma found a way.
That they did, which I'm not complaining about.
No.
But, and, I mean, Oklahoma had 19 first downs, 351 yards of offense, which isn't bad, but, I mean, Tennessee had 456 yards of offense.
Oklahoma also had 3 fumbles, 2 turnovers, and 11 penalties for 104 yards.
Yikes.
Tennessee also had 3 fumbles, 3 turnovers, and only 3 penalties for 25 yards. So Oklahoma was like actively working against themselves in this game and still
won.
Tennessee
is just not that impressive. Mm-mm. They're just not. And Aguilar, I think, has kind of gotten progressively worse as the season's gone on. I really don't think they have any shot at the playoffs now. They have, 3 losses now? Mm-hmm. All of them in conference ranked opponents, but still, they have 3 losses. And they've had a chance to beat some of these bigger teams, and they haven't done that.
I mean, they're 6-3 on the season. They dropped to 25.
In the CFP. They're not even in the AP poll, I don't think. Oh, no, they're 23 in the AP poll. Never mind.
25 for CFP.
Yeah.
But still, 6-3 is way out of playoff contention.
Absolutely.
And they're kind of done for the season, unfortunately. So I'm glad that... I'm honestly kind of glad that we got to play a good Tennessee.
Yeah, I am too.
Because and we'll talk about it a lot more, but the way that the way that wins and losses are being credited, I think it helps us a lot that we played a good Tennessee, that we played a still very good Alabama.
Yeah.
But looks like we're gonna play a really good Georgia Tech and a good Texas, which is scary.
Yeah, that is scary.
But at the beginning of the season, those wins or losses were gonna hurt us in a very different way.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Honestly, I think that our schedule is shaping up to be a little bit harder than
we were kind of expecting it to be. Yeah. But a little bit more on that game. Mateer had 159 passing yards. Aguilar had 393. Wow. And then Robinson from Oklahoma, he had 16 carries for 115 yards. That's an impressive number.
Very impressive game.
So props to Oklahoma. Credit where credit is due. Good win. South Carolina, Ole Miss. Ole Miss won 30-14. As they do. Yeah.
All right, I think that's it for Saturday Snapshots. Kind of going into our Bulldog brief. Barely walked away with a win. Georgia 24-20. It was a scary game.
It was a game. It happened.
It was a little disappointing. But weird things happen at Florida.
Weird things do happen at Florida. And we've had some games this season where I've looked at it and said, wow, that's bad football. I don't think any of that compares to this game.
This wasn't bad football.
This was not good. Our defense, where are they? I don't get it. We can't play till the fourth quarter when the game is literally on the line if we don't make a stop. And I get being able to play in high pressure situations, but you have to be able to play like that all the time. And we don't do that.
Mm-mm.
And KJ Bolden getting suspended for targeting did not help after the first half. And it was targeting. Like, I can't argue that call and say, oh, well, that was atrocious. Like, no, it was textbook targeting. But he's one of our, like, most productive defenders.
I was a little shocked when they walked past it and like,
I know.
It took them like 30 seconds to call it as targeting. I was like, well,
like, run a play.
Yeah, I was like, well, gosh dang, like,
I know.
How bad are these refs?
I know. And then they called it back.
Yeah, and then they called it back and I was like, oh, well, good on you. Like, very much so. Yeah.
When there's no, like, fight from the Georgia sideline, that's usually when you know. Because he pretty much said, yeah, and walked off.
He walked off.
Yeah. And that's like, if the player doesn't put up a fight, yeah.
I mean, he knew when he did it.
He did.
Yeah.
So, but that hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So, at least he's not sitting out for the first half this weekend, but still, it's just, that was like one more thing that it was like, that's one of the guys that we cannot have out right now.
Mm-hmm.
But they did eventually step it up enough in the fourth quarter, but it just, I don't get why we're playing 10 yards off of everybody.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna say this once for the people in the back. But if I see another wide receiver screen from Bobo's office, I'm gonna go there and scratch out your playbook myself. Because, oh, dear Lord.
Can we start having an over-under for how many in a game?
Yeah, seriously.
Whatever it is gonna be over. But, I mean, how many did we play? How many did we do? Every other play? Like
every third down at least.
No. Sometimes we ran it straight up the middle.
Most all third downs.
Yeah, but
good amount of second downs were wide receiver screens, which is so unnecessary. Just unnecessary.
I get so upset because I feel like we've seen so much growth in the play calling the last couple weeks, and then we went out there Saturday, and it just felt like same old, same old. We reverted back to, like, flag football. We throw the same wide receiver screen every time.
It looks like a panic call.
It does, and it doesn't work.
It looks like Bobo doesn't know what to... It looks sloppy.
Yeah.
Like, it looks a little lazy. Like, I'm sorry. That, I understand. If I can count on one hand how many screens we throw in a game, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. And there's a time and a place. Sometimes
Yes.
it is the right call, and I've seen a couple times where we've run it and it's actually worked really well. But not every time.
I know. It's just... I know that Bobo's better than this season.
Yes.
And he's definitely shown where he deserves some credit. But it's just this one... It's like the one thorn in our offense.
Mm-hmm.
Is this screen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no wonder defenses eat us alive so bad.
Because they can see it coming a mile away. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. We are reliable for that much.
That's not a good thing.
No.
At all. But, yeah. The screenshots of our group chat, our text chain of just if I see one more screen.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we were not having it, but
mm-mm.
Yeah. At the end of the day, we did win. I don't know how we won that game, but a win is a win. We just got to take it and move on. I'm hoping Mississippi State this weekend isn't quite as stressful.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that it won't be, but it's just every week I think it can't get worse, and it does. But Stockton still had a decent game. He went 20 for 29, 69% completion, 223 yards. He's also, I would like to point out, leading the SEC in pass completion.
Had no idea.
That's pretty impressive.
But good on Gunner.
Yeah. And, alright. I know that Florida fans are so upset with the refs after this weekend. Was it a catch?
Okay, I don't think it was.
I don't think it was either.
And here's my thing. It's me putting my coffee cup down.
We're getting serious.
Okay, so he dove.
Mm-hmm.
So, knees and elbows on the ground. His arms were, like, shoulder width apart. So, like, regardless of him having his, like, hands up, ready to scoop, that ball hit the ground.
It did.
And they didn't show all angles on, like, on the replay that you were watching on TV, but after the game from, like, ESPN and YouTube, and you saw more angles of the catch, which was kind of stupid.
Yeah.
But if you see it from the front, and maybe it's the left side, but if you look, like, looking through on this side, where you can see, like, through his side, his elbow.
You can see it hit the ground.
You can see it hit the ground, and you can see the grass kick up, and it's not just from him sliding. I don't think it's a catch.
I think whatever you called on the field had to stand. I think if they called it a catch, it would have had to stay. And they called it incomplete, I think it had to stay. I just don't think, like, the replay policy is there has to be substantial evidence to overturn, and there wasn't. So either way, I don't think you can look at that and say, oh, well, that was a terrible call. It's like, well, no, there's just not enough to justify it one way or the other.
I don't think it was a catch.
I don't think it was either. But don't underthrow your receiver and it's not a problem.
That was an aggressive underthrow.
Like, he had to fully turn around and dive for that. Because, like, you throw it ahead of him and that's a touchdown.
Yeah.
So
he was on the ground for a second before that ball went in, too.
I know he was.
Yeah. Like, he chilled there for a minute before the ball reached him.
He was chilling with the turf monster.
Yeah. So, Lagway, dear God.
Yikes. Just, I don't know what you were doing there, but it wasn't working for you. But Eugene Wilson had 9 catches for 121 yards.
Yeah.
We just do not know how to guard this guy. And then Jaden Baugh had
15 carries for 72 yards.
That makes much more sense. It does, doesn't it? Wow. Anyway, Jaden Baugh had 15 for 72. So, I mean, they had a couple offensive players who had really good games because our defense just could not stop them.
Mm-hmm.
And then, this is the other one that got me. What was that false start penalty for aggressive clapping? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Some people had to look it up after. And I think what it was I think he went out too far before he clapped, so it looked like he, like, was gonna fake clapping or something, I think is what I saw. Like, his arms went out too far, and then he clapped twice.
That's ticky.
Yeah, it was picky, but the refs were right in the end to call it. I just think that...
But the Florida players were also way off sides.
Which they didn't get called on.
Yeah.
So...
Because they were, like, halfway into our line by that point.
They should have offset.
Yeah,
and
they
there
should have
been 2 calls on that play. They should definitely called Florida for offsides because my gosh, was that aggressive.
Yeah.
I think some people thought at first that they were calling Drew Bobo.
I know.
For something, and I was like,
and you're looking at it and you're like, he didn't move.
Like, his job is to snap the ball. Like,
yeah. Like,
okay.
do we need to go back to football school?
Yeah, seriously.
But
they weren't looking at Drew at all. But
yeah,
that outside lineman, holy crap.
I know, they threw the flag and I was like, oh, Florida offsides, there's 5 yards, and then they called false start, and I was like, what?
A false start?
It's like, nobody moved. But I know, I was so confused. I had to go look that one up too, and I was like, what?
Yeah, I think his arms were out too far, or maybe he lunged a little bit. It was something small, but
yeah.
I think he was probably just moving around a little bit too much, and it's getting
offended the refs.
Yeah, a little too tweaky, but I mean, honestly, that call didn't hurt us as much as, like, it looked like it did, but that still should have been offset.
Oh, absolutely. At least.
For those who care. Should have been offset.
But for a Georgia fan, this was a good weekend because Auburn, Florida, Tennessee, Miami, and Georgia Tech all lost and Georgia won.
Carson Beck and Georgia Tech.
Correct. Yes, the only reason we care.
All lost.
If any of you watch SEC Shorts, and this was one of the first ones of the year, and the Tennessee, like, was staying up in the middle of the night with his little glass of bourbon watching the downfall of UCLA, that's how I feel about Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is.
Yep. Speaking of, UCLA's having a little bit of a rough time right now, but oh well.
It's going to be a sad game against Ohio State.
That it is. Oh! won a game! Yay! They beat...
At least someone in the state of Florida did.
Who'd they beat? Wake Forest? That sounds right.
Yeah.
I think that's correct. Maybe.
Correct enough.
Yeah.
Someone in the state of Florida won this weekend.
It's an ACC team, it doesn't matter. Anyway, so some of our weekend watches upcoming this weekend, obviously Georgia at Mississippi State, but then BYU at Texas Tech, that's where game day is going to be. I'm really not sure about this one.
I mean, it's number...
What, 8 and 9?
7 and 8.
7 and 8, I was close.
On the CFP playoff ranking.
Are they 8 and...
They're 8 and 9 on the AP poll.
Ah, yes.
But 7 and 8, this is a top 10 matchup for the weekend. Like, no wonder game day is making their way out there. I'm gonna have to pay a little bit more attention to the Big 12. This is definitely a game I'm gonna have to actually sit down and watch. BYU is still undefeated.
Aren't they always at this point in the season? And then it just
crashes and burns.
Yeah, so like, because I saw something the other day, and somebody posted, this is BYU's first undefeated season since this time last season. And it's true. They always, like, they start out really high, and they play, like, all these nobody teams. Granted, I'll give them Utah. That was a good win.
Mm-hmm.
But they, they kind of just coast for a while, and then they play a real team, and don't work out for them.
Sounds like a lot of the Big 10 and the Big 12, I'm not gonna lie. But...
Common theme here.
Talk for a few minutes later.
They won't get tortillaed.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, those fines have gotten crazy.
People are so upset about it, too.
Yes.
I know.
Which, for those who don't know, the Texas Tech tortilla toss has been a huge thing this season, and now...
It's banned.
At first, when it was just, like, a $15,000 fine and, like, a warning, the president of the university didn't care and told...
Which real.
Basically told the NCAA where they could stick it.
Yep.
And then NCAA came back and said, all right, well, now
that's how you
it's
feel.
a $100,000 fine and a 15-yard penalty and a delay of game, and like all the $100,000 fine was the big one. He was like, okay,
yeah,
that's enough. So they had to ban it.
It's so sad,
unfortunately, but
yeah,
I guess that's what happens when you yell at the NCAA about your tortillas. So if Texas gets in trouble, so do you.
I love college football. And then we also have Texas A&M at Missouri. I mean, this is going to be... It's a road SEC game, so I've really kind of looked to see how A&M handles this weekend, because Missouri isn't necessarily a cakewalk, so we'll see. Do they go 9-0? Who knows?
I think they will. I think A&M handled themselves really, really well at LSU, and I think that was... That was the big road game that I was kind of waiting on.
Absolutely.
I don't think they have a cakewalk the rest of the season aside from Stanford, but still. Like, until Texas might be able to be a one loss for them this season.
It is at Texas. So
it's at Texas.
That's going to be a tough game. It just is. Because playing at Austin and those two teams really don't like each other. So I think if they can get through that one, they're going to set themselves up really well for the playoffs.
But even if Texas is their one loss and Texas keeps improving the way that they are, A&M is, they're going to go, 12-1?
11-1.
11-1?
Maybe make the SEC championship. I don't know. I don't really know how the standings would shake out if A&M gets beat by Texas. Oh, you know what? It would probably be Georgia and Alabama in the SEC championship, because why wouldn't it be? A&M, please keep winning. Please don't make us go back.
Story. But until Texas, I confidently see them winning out.
I do too. So they've been a fun team to follow this year. I'm really excited to actually go watch in a couple weeks.
I'm thoroughly impressed.
We won't be with Stanford, but we will be with A&M.
Yeah.
Oregon at Iowa is this week. I look for Oregon to win that game pretty easily, but still, ranked matchup.
Auburn at Vanderbilt. I look for Vanderbilt to win this game. But,
Yeah, probably.
It's at home. I think that they'll make some major improvements. After what happened in Texas, I think
so
that
too.
They will work out some major kinks. And it'll be something to see how their interim coach kind of handles running things a little bit. So I think it'll be a good tell sign for, people looking at the kind of direction that Auburn's going in. It'll be interesting to see if they put Arnold back in for this game, but who knows?
there's not really a good quarterback option at Auburn right now.
Mm-mm.
They kind of need to get lucky in the transfer portal or land a big recruit. Otherwise, I think they're in for a rough couple years. Which, I mean, they might get somebody good out of the transfer portal. It kind of just depends on, who ends up actually going in.
I think it's going to depend on coaching, too.
I do, too.
I think they're going to have to make some staff improvements and show that they are growing post-freeze in order to draw in some other players.
Yeah. Then, but Syracuse at Miami, please Syracuse. That would, make my entire weekend.
Yeah. Syracuse has a really great opportunity to do something hilarious and beat Carson Beck. So Again.
Syracuse does have a way of winning these random games like this, so...
They're like Purdue.
Yeah, they are, yeah. Purdue of the ACC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. LSU at Bama, I don't see this being a good game, but, it's an SEC matchup. It's in Tuscaloosa. Bama's rolling pretty good right now, especially after a not-so-good week against South Carolina a couple weeks ago. Yeah. So, we'll see, but Bama will probably win that game. And then Florida at Kentucky. Standings, A&M and Alabama are still our top two right now. A&M in first, Bama in second. They're both undefeated in conference, 5-0. And then fourth is Ole Miss, and then not fourth. Wow. Third is Ole Miss, and fourth is Georgia. So, perfect scenario for Georgia would be that we just get nowhere near that SEC championship.
Georgia is number 5, across the board in every standing necessary right now. So, if it all happened today, it would be A&M and Alabama that go to the SEC championship. Mm-hmm. We would still get, our bye, go to the first round.
Mm-hmm.
Because we are number 5. But
standings are complicated. But yeah, and then poor Arkansas. They're the only SEC team that hasn't won a conference game. That's pretty sad. We have 4 teams who've only won one: Mississippi State, Auburn, Kentucky, and South Carolina.
Well, if Mississippi State and Kentucky had lost this weekend, they would still not have any conference wins.
Correct. So. Yikes.
To that what you will.
Yeah. But Georgia's 5-1 in conference play. Our only loss to Bama, who's unfortunately really good right now and pretty much the unanimous number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 really haven't been changing much from all the rankings I've seen.
I think that from where we expected Georgia to be in the off season, I think that we're doing really, really well right now. I think that we still definitely have, we are not a championship team. We definitely have, our defense has a lot to figure out. I think that we still have a lot of growing up to do, but overall, I think offensively and just Gunner as a whole has definitely put Georgia in a much better spot than anybody really expected them to.
Absolutely. I think making the playoffs this year is a successful season.
Definitely.
We're not
100%.
We're not completely delusional saying that we're going to win it all this year. We are not good enough to do that. I think I will be pretty happy if we just make the playoffs this year. I'm going to regret saying that come 5 weeks from now and something awful happens, but right now we're number 5 in the CFP. We'd get a home playoff game, and right now, if the playoffs started today, this doesn't mean anything because it doesn't, but right now we'd play Memphis at home. Realistically, we'd win that game, and that'd be great.
It'd be fun.
Great. Awesome. We did that. Move on to next season.
Yeah. Not a huge deal, because if it happened today, we would move on from Memphis to play Alabama again, which...
Because why wouldn't we?
Because unfortunately would be the end of our season. But...
Because the stupid committee loves to do that to us. Yeah. Any excuse to put us against Alabama. But I digress.
But speaking of the committee, in case anybody missed it, last night was our first CFP selection show.
And... I'm not mad. I don't know what to do with myself.
The most backlash that I've seen for it is Tennessee still being ranked.
Yes! Which is so fair!
After losing to Oklahoma.
They have 3 losses to a not, outstanding Georgia team, and to Bama, who's pretty good, and to a not great Oklahoma team. Why are you still ranked?
Oklahoma would have been a better loss, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say so.
Not this weekend.
No, not this weekend. But that is the most backlash I've seen. Also, like to point out, currently your top 12 is Ohio State, Indiana, A&M, Bama, Georgia, and then Ole Miss. This is where it starts to differ a little bit from the AP poll. Ole Miss is 6, BYU 7, Texas Tech 8, Oregon 9, Notre Dame 10, Texas 11, and Oklahoma 12.
But when they put it up to the bracket, Texas is still first team out.
Yes.
So
do with that what you will, because for those of you who don't know, it's not based on just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's the 5 highest rated conference champions, which realistically is your Power 4, and then whoever the best conference winner is of the lesser conferences. And that would put Memphis in there, and that would also put Virginia in there.
yeah.
So it's interesting, but I like the straight seeding instead of the conference champions automatically get a first round bye.
And I do like that the committee did put in that they are taking strength of schedule and strength of record into account, looking at how you beat teams, not just that you beat them, which I think is very, very important, especially when it comes to teams that have made such vast improvements like Texas, who Ohio State beating them might not be a huge win, but, you know, any team in the next, 2 weeks who beats Texas would be a huge, huge win.
Absolutely.
So, little things like that where I think that wins and quality of losses are definitely being taken into account in how you did certain things. With that being said, that is why Vanderbilt, for example, dropped to 16. So,
yeah.
Unfortunately, not going to make it into the playoffs, but ending in the AP top, being in the AP top 25 right now, and I think that if they go on to win, let's say 2 more games the rest of the season, I think that they will be in an incredible spot and having just overall, you can say Vanderbilt had one of the most successful seasons.
Absolutely.
Of Vanderbilt's career.
Yes, definitely. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about the top 3, because I know we talked about this a little bit yesterday when we watched the rankings, but they are looking more at strength of schedule and record more than they ever have in the past, which is great. But who's Ohio State's best win right now?
Right now it's Texas.
But and a not good Texas team at the time.
And a not good Texas team at the time. Which was our whole thing when we were talking about it last night. Because, you would just kind of ask, who do you think is number 1? And personally, I think Indiana should be number 1.
I think I'm going to have to go with A&M, but I can respect it. It's just, Indiana is the real deal, just from watching them play. I don't want to come across them in the playoffs, because that will be a tough game.
I think, other than the fact that, Indiana does have one more win, but I think the way that them against Oregon was a real game.
Yes, that was a real game.
And Oregon is another one of those where they don't really play anybody until they might play Ohio State at the end of the season. And
they don't
always win, but do pretty well. Enough to say, Yeah. You can just kind of leave them alone. But I think that Indiana's record of wins is a little bit stronger than Ohio State's record of wins. Not to say that Ohio State doesn't have oh my gosh, one of the most impressive defenses and wide receiver rooms in the country.
Absolutely.
But I could argue for both. I could see arguments for both, but at the end of the day, I really think that Indiana just has a little bit more push.
That's fair. See, I think I can make that same argument for A&M, because I think that they play a tougher conference schedule. They beat currently number 10 Notre Dame on the road, I think. Wasn't it at Notre Dame?
Mm-hmm.
So, that's a big win, and they've played, goodness, I can't even remember now, but they beat LSU pretty good on the road. They've played, I just think, more consistently good teams. They've played a couple more ranked games than Indiana and Ohio State, and I would put Indiana above Ohio State right now, too. I honestly think it should be A&M, Indiana, Ohio State right now, but unfortunately, until Ohio State loses, I understand that you can't move them yet. But we were looking yesterday, and Ohio State only has one more ranked team on their schedule. They played, I think we said 2 all season, Texas at the beginning and then Michigan at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, you don't play anybody.
Indiana also only plays 2 ranked teams all season. A&M, up to this point, has played 3.
Yeah.
So...
And they have at least 1 more on their schedule with Texas.
Mm-hmm.
2, because they play Missouri this weekend, so that's 2 more.
Yeah. So by the end of the season, we'll have played 5 ranked games.
Mm-hmm. At least.
Mm-hmm. 3 on the road.
Yeah.
So that to me is just, a much better resume. And
absolutely.
I can definitely agree with you when you say, A&M, Indiana, Ohio State. I think also the fact that Ohio State was the national champion last year has a lot of pull.
Which is fair.
Understandably so.
Like, I don't look at this and I'm not, like, outraged about the rankings. It's just, if it were me, I probably would have done this a little bit differently. But honestly, the top 3 right now, you can really put them in any order. And I would be like, you know what? Yeah.
They're that close.
They really are.
Other things. It's a little weird. It feels super early to have this, I would say.
I agree.
With there still being 4 weeks of the regular season left.
Really 5, because you can't release your rankings until after conference championships.
Yeah, 5 weeks.
Yeah.
5 weeks until selection day.
Goodness.
So, I mean, I'm happy for it. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad that we have a little bit of talk from the committee and, have kind of a direction to go in, kind of like a benchmark for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Just, to give teams and coaches, I guess, an idea of where they are realistically and kind of how things are being graded this season, which I'm so glad that we've made some improvements from versus last season, because if anybody listened to us during selection day last year,
we had some things to say.
You would know that this was one of our big opinions.
Yes.
Was that strength of schedule and strength of record was not really taken into account, and now it is. So I feel a lot more sound about this ranking.
Absolutely.
Than I would have if it were last season.
Yeah, I definitely do too. So the last kind of like big note that I have for now is there's been a lot of coaching turnover, and I sent this to you. 25% of the SEC has fired their head coaches this season.
South Carolina air coordinator doesn't count.
No, he doesn't.
Unfortunately.
Not real sure why you... I don't know. That one didn't make a ton of sense to me, but I digress. But yeah, it's Sam Pittman from Arkansas, Brian Kelly from LSU, Hugh Freeze from Auburn, and Billy Napier from Florida. 4 teams, quarter of the SEC.
Which, the whole Brian Kelly debacle, they don't have a head coach anymore. They don't have, I believe, an offensive coordinator anymore.
I don't think they have an AD anymore, do they?
They don't have an athletic director anymore.
Wasn't their president fired too?
Yes!
Yeah!
The governor runs LSU right now.
Like, what is going on at LSU right now? Like, this is the wildest thing.
Brian Kelly was a jerk, and all of a sudden, the entire staff at LSU is just gone.
Okay, but their AD was also the guy who hired Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M. So that one, I get. He's not the best decision maker.
That was a talk I had with with some people this weekend. But it just... I think it's so funny, the governor coming in and being like, hey, like, AD, you're not allowed to pick the next coach, and then he got fired.
It just means more.
It does.
Yeah. But LSU right now is an everything but football school. Maybe basketball, actually. But, like, they're really good at, like, track and field, softball, baseball, gymnastics, but not football. Which is sad, because LSU has such a culture around football down there.
But just the governor getting involved is just so Louisiana.
It really is, isn't it? Bring back Coach O.
Yes, seriously.
Yes. What I would give.
Mm-hmm.
But we've also seen a rumor about Glenn Schumann going to Florida.
Okay, I've seen like 4 people post it. It is just rumor right now, but I think it was rumor enough to note.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be too upset.
We can't officially give our endorsement. But if it happened,
if people were to look around at who may or may not want to be a new defensive coordinator at UGA, I wouldn't be opposed to that search.
Yeah, I
think that's all we're saying.
Coach Boom, where are you at?
Yeah.
I want him back so bad. I want Sam Pittman back too, but I don't know if that's happening.
Not with the way he went down.
Hey, he's a really good O-line coach. So
Is
that's
that
all I'm
much.
saying. Just saying.
Uh-huh.
It's also the 5th straight week of a coach being fired. Because Franklin started it all. It just, yeah. Yeah.
It's Rob,
So much.
so many coaches this season.
So I've got a little hypothetical for you.
Oh, God.
You're Lane Kiffin.
Okay.
What are you doing?
I think I'm staying at Ole Miss.
I think so, too.
I think I'm staying at Ole Miss. Especially with the way that Louisiana just crashed and burned.
Yeah.
Like, the governor owns LSU right now.
Yeah, he does. And out of the jobs available, LSU is the best job, but do you really want to get involved in that right now? Because I wouldn't.
The governor might not want Lane Kiffin.
I fear the governor probably does want Lane Kiffin.
And that's the problem.
Yeah.
It's like the Louisiana Mafia. Like, it is something,
I swear.
else over there.
Yeah. It's different.
No, but if I'm Kiffin, I stay at Ole Miss. Like, there's no way. Like, nobody is as happy where they are and with doing, like, calling what they're doing as successful as Lane Kiffin.
His coaching style just works there. His offense just works there. That's the offense that he runs is just, it attracts those kind of players. Like, I don't really know how else to put it. It just, he does what he does, and people really like to play for that kind of coach.
And he gets so excited for his team.
He does, and it's refreshing to me. Because, like, there's a lot of coaches who kind of just stand there and kind of do their job and kind of go on their way. But it's like, he's invested, and you can tell he's invested.
Do you see, it was a video after they had beat South Carolina, and it was threw a ball to the student section, like, told all the players, like, go out and celebrate with them.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the same way that all our Georgia players went up and ran into the student. There's a big picture of Lost and Lucky, who one of my friends is very, very intent on marrying. So if Lost and Lucky has no more fans, that friend is gone.
Yeah.
But Lost and Lucky up in the student section, and everybody just, running up and celebrating, because even if they're not great wins, they're still wins, and they're worth celebrating, and they're worth being excited over.
They're important.
I think that's it's a culture thing.
It is.
For Kiffin and I'll say Kirby has always been a culture thing.
You can tell which teams have a really good culture around them and which ones don't. And I think that's something that's so sad about LSU the past few years, is after Coach O left, there was just a noticeable shift, because Kelly just does not fit the culture that they had there at all. It's like the night games the past few years have not been anywhere near what they used to be. And the amount of Texas A&M fans in the stadium a couple weeks ago, like, it's
shocking.
Yeah. And the students aren't into the game. And somebody on social media, I think, said it best the other day. He said, you don't meet any LSU players who committed to LSU because of Brian Kelly. They all commit there because they want to say they played for LSU and they want to be a part of that athletic culture. Hey, Bridget.
Hey, Bridge.
Hi, guys. How's it going?
Good.
Been a fun weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it has. We have some pretty good characters in here, I'm thinking, for this week of Bridget's Bell. I mean, I'll leave the best for last, obviously. But, like, just to begin with, like, we had 2 field stormings this weekend at SMU and at North Carolina State, right? Yeah, yeah. And then, this is even better, Coastal Carolina had a Medieval Times halftime show. That is fantastic. I only saw, like, a little bit of the reel, and then I looked at the rest of the 10-minute YouTube video, and that was fantastic. Like, costumes and, like, a show and everything. I mean, I've never gone to Medieval Times, but I think that would be pretty cool.
I would take it over the commercial breaks every 3 minutes, so you get some entertainment while you're out there waiting on ESPN to actually, like, play football again.
Exactly. My liege, let us play football.
And on that teal field too, because my God, is that field ugly? So
Wow. How do people see?
I don't know.
It's like when Tennessee played Syracuse. It's like too much orange. It's just like the teal field.
Just a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot.
Be like going cross-eyed. Like, if you're playing down on the field,
Yeah.
it's like, whoa. But, it's okay. Maybe that's their goal. Maybe they're trying to make the opposing team, like, confused.
Miami did that with their camo uniforms a couple weeks ago. Those are the worst
Dude,
things
the way
I've ever
those
seen.
blended into the grass.
Yeah.
That's terrible. Cheating, I say. Cheating.
Well, not that.
Bun him at the stake.
Not that Carson Beck needed any more help throwing interceptions, but still.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Blame it on the uniforms.
We digress. And then before we get to the favorite part at the end, let's just like give some love to the graphic designer for Texas A&M's recent game announcement. It's like they play Mizzou this next weekend, and it was like going into the Tigers' den, and there's like tigers, and one of the football players is holding like a torch. It's just awesome. It is really cool. They did like a specialty like Halloween one and like a pumpkin patch, and like it's really cool. So shout out to whoever that is. I have no idea who it is, but like I don't appreciate art. That's not something that I really understand. My mind is a little too logical to appreciate that, and this is a piece of art I can appreciate. So take that as a compliment.
You can also appreciate that A&M is number 3 in the country right now.
They are. I was going to say, actually, they have only allowed 7 sacks. The O-line has only allowed 7 sacks this entire season.
It's their highest ranking in school history.
Yeah, which is pretty cool.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
I still think that there's a case for them to be number 1, but
I agree with that statement.
I'm not on the committee as much as I would like to be. So for now.
Top 3 most said phrases on Hail Mary Hotline.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not the committee, but if I was, this is what I would say.
Petition for us to be commissioner for a day.
Yes. I wouldn't even know what to do, so that would be really entertaining with you guys knowing what to do, and then I would just be like, sick 'em! And then last but not least, my favorite probably, MTSU has a Batman.
You don't say.
How cool is that?
Justice.
Forgot
You're not the knight.
No.
You might at least be very safe at MTSU with a Batman on watch.
This is true.
That's true. He's a crime-fighting, night-stalking
Vigilante.
vigilante. With that being said... Good night, all. To all, a good night. And Lego Batman. Always. 1000%. This is your host, Bridget. This is your host, Taylor.
This is your host, Sarah.
Go dogs. Go Maggies.